Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
I've had a client in my office just this week who showed in jail on the computer. They had no idea he had been released, and he's sitting in my office.
People who should be out of jail are not, and people who should not be out are. That's the allegation made by one local defense attorney. It's been more than a week since the county launched its new Odyssey portal. KSAT's been documenting problems with the criminal case management system since last Wednesday. They are not over. We've heard complaints about a backlog of inmates for booking and release, even after posting bond. Families with no way to check where their loved ones are or if they've been arrested. And attorneys, judges, and clerks slowed down by trying to learn how this new, apparently complicated system works. Bobby Barrera is a local attorney, the former president of the San Antonio Bar Association, and the current director of the Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association. On our KSAT Q&A at 6:30 tonight, we asked him what he is seeing with the implementation of this new county system. Here's part of what he had to say.
People who should have been released that weren't, and there's some significant information supporting that people who should not have been released are now free on the streets, and the computers still show they're in jail and they're out.
So what is happening here? Earlier today, one county spokesperson told KSAT the new system is, quote, for the most part working as planned, end quote, but didn't specify what is still causing delays at the jail. I reached out to the county judge, Peter Sakai, and Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar tonight. I've not heard back from the county judge yet, but the sheriff did send me a statement. It says in part, quote, I'm extremely dissatisfied with how this system has performed thus far. There have been no erroneous releases of inmates, regardless of what the online system may have indicated, end quote. The sheriff goes on to say, quote, I'd be extremely hard-pressed to say anything positive about the system or process. I realize it has caused hardship for those incarcerated and their families, but that is a direct result of us having to be meticulous in our processes to ensure public safety, end quote. The sheriff's told me sometimes they even are using paper records just to make sure they've got everything straight. You can read the sheriff's full statement, watch our full interview with Bobby Barrera right now on KSAT.com. All right, we had some showers in our area tonight, and we're going to talk to Sarah about the chances that we'll have more ahead. But looking back, Sunday and Monday's rain did cause some problems in the area. So are you prepared for potential flooding? The San Antonio River Authority encouraging people to plan ahead. The night team's Avery Everett looks at what you can do at home to help your family right now.
It falls fast and it flows fast.
When it rains in San Antonio, problems pour. Flooding and lingering water can be widespread.
And there's no space for the floodwater to go.
And that's why the San Antonio River Authority is pushing people to be proactive.
We've been working on drainage solutions and flooding solutions for a century.
Aaron Cavazos with the River Authority says San Antonio is in flash flood alley. That means we're at a higher risk for flooding because of our terrain, soil, and rainfall rates. The River Authority relies on its 200 low water crossing sensors to notify people of flooding and road closures. Now that information is accessible in the Waze app.
When it rains, they're very dangerous.
All of the rain over the last couple of days revealed drainage issues across San Antonio. We were last here in this Harlandale neighborhood for our Know My Neighborhood series at the beginning of the year to specifically talk about flooding. This drain is filled with debris and it shows that pile up over the last couple of days. It's really the only drain to serve these couple of streets here in Harlandale, and it shows the long-term infrastructure issues across San Antonio when it comes to flooding and drainage. That's why nonprofits say it's so important to have short-term solutions to help keep you prepared.
You hear it all the time, turn around, don't drown.
Joseph Villarreal with San Antonio Aware and Prepared says there are also ways to protect your property now. That includes trimming trees that could fall on your home, clearing drains on your street, and securing outdoor furniture. Meanwhile, the River Authority is looking into flooding solutions. It's working with the city on capital improvements, as well as FEMA on updating Bexar County's floodplain maps. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
And speaking of being prepared, I also want to take this chance to remind you, if you don't already have our KSAT Weather Authority app downloaded on your smartphone or tablet, it is really the best way to stay in the loop with all things weather related. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now to download this great app.
Thanks for that, Steve. We do send notifications right to your phone, and oftentimes when we go long periods of time without rain, all that debris builds up, and then it causes more flooding issues when all of a sudden we get some rain. We do still have some rain on the radar, mainly out near Bracketville, but generally our chance for showers and storms is coming to an end tonight. A lot of the storminess missed San Antonio to the east and to the west. I'll talk about those rainfall amounts in just a bit, but I want to remind you that we do have one last chance for storms. Tomorrow, a 30% chance, just like today had a 30% chance. I'll be walking you through an hour-by-hour forecast for your day tomorrow and talking about how over Father's Day weekend, it's going to be pretty hot. Those details coming up.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Well, it's a story we've been following for more than a month, an online security breach with Central Med's online database. It's made patient information vulnerable to hackers. And while the company's IT department continues to find a fix, the problem persists, and the healthcare provider is still struggling to access its own online records. On the top tab of Central Med's website, you're going to see the notice of the breach. KSAT spoke to the healthcare provider back on May 24th. At that time, Central Med hoped to have access to its records by the following week. As of today, that still has not happened. If you're a Central Med patient, if you have concerns about your sensitive information, there is a number you can call. It is 888-990-8424. There you see it again, 888-990-8424. We're keeping tabs on the story, and we're going to keep checking until we find out if the Central Med problem is actually fixed. New on the Nightbeat, a wheelchair-bound man has died following a house fire. The 68-year-old taken to the hospital, badly burned after flames broke out in the home on Christian Drive near Loop 410 and Rigsby. That is on the east side. Still not clear exactly what sparked that fire tonight. Have you seen this young woman? The Bexar County Sheriff's Office has been looking for 16-year-old Kayla Oryavides for more than a week now. She was last seen on a street called Forest Canyon. It's off of Highway 90 in southwest Bexar County. If you know anything that can bring her home, her family wants to see her. Call BCSO 210-335-6000.
We know these are very critical to a lot of people involved in these situations.
Streaming right now, rape kits supposed to be processed within 30 days, but an audit showed San Antonio police had more than 100 kits in their property room longer than that. Courtney Friedman breaks down what happened and what changes this APD is making. It's right now on KSAT.com and KSAT Plus. Let's go to Uvalde now, where UPS and FedEx have been named in a new lawsuit by the victims' families of the Robb Elementary shooting. They're accusing those companies of multiple oversights when weapons were shipped to the shooter. The lawsuit accuses FedEx of shipping and delivering the AR-15 style rifle used to a gun store where the shooter picked it up, even though he was not 18 when he bought it. The lawsuit also alleges UPS delivered a package that contained an illegal trigger system to the shooter's home. Both shipping companies released statements regarding that lawsuit tonight. FedEx said in part, quote, FedEx is committed to the lawful, secure, and safe movement of regulated items through our network, and we comply with applicable laws and regulations, end quote. UPS said in part, quote, the lawsuit has no merit and we will defend accordingly, end quote. You can read both UPS and FedEx's full statements right now on KSAT.com. Let's go to your Nightbeat News Flash quickly. After 3 hours of deliberations, a jury found Hunter Biden guilty on all 3 counts in his federal gun trial. The president's son now faces up to 25 years behind bars for the crime, though it's likely he'll get a lesser sentence because he is a first-time offender. President Joe Biden has said he would not pardon his son. A man's been arrested following the stabbing of 4 American college teachers at a Chinese park. Police say the stabbing happened after the 55-year-old suspect collided with one of the Americans while walking in the park. Chinese officials say none of the victims have life-threatening injuries. Elizabeth Holmes and her attorneys want a new trial. The former CEO of Theranos is appealing her 11-year sentence for defrauding investors of her failed blood testing company. Her lawyers argue the judge overseeing the trial made several errors in the proceedings. The appeal will be heard by a group of judges in California. No word on when a decision should be made in that case. And that's a look at your Nightbeat News Flash.
If you're renting, what are your rights? We've received a handful of complaints about different apartments in and around San Antonio. Tonight on the Nightbeat, we go inside a renters' rights meeting and bring you what you need to know.
That's and piss and toilet paper coming up through the streets, mixing with the water. The dogs are walking in it, the cats are walking in it.
If you think this looks like toilet paper, you'd be right. What we just showed you, there you go. It's a story we've been trying to get answers on for several weeks. Streams of stench, apartment tenants fed up with raw sewage issues. We first brought you this story on May 13th when many of the residents of the Brynwood apartments told us raw sewage and human waste was leaking into their parking lot for months. 2 weeks later, the city's Development Services Department told KSAT that issue was fixed, only for the city to hand the complex 3 citations last week when the leak came back. And this weekend, a tenant sent us this, their parking lot filled with that stream of sewage yet again. So what do renters need to know in order to protect themselves from things like that? The Night Team's John Paul Barajas went to a renters' rights meeting tonight with that topic in mind.
Very, very difficult, close to impossible to get any solutions, to get anything done.
It's a complaint often sent to our newsroom. Renters fed up over ongoing property problems. How frustrating is it living with constant issues for you?
I can't even put it into words.
It's difficult to even get the words out.
Yes, it's like a feeling of hopelessness, despair.
But there is help for those who believe they're living in unfair or unsafe conditions. Renters' rights meetings like this one held Tuesday night aim to spread the word.
Increase tenants' awareness of what their rights, so that they know what to do when they are faced with an eviction or repair issues that aren't getting repaired.
Sandra Thames is with the Fair Housing Council. She says one of the biggest mistakes tenants make when an issue isn't getting fixed is withholding rent.
As you're current on the rent, the landlord has a responsibility to fix health and safety issues within 7 days of a proper request submitted by a tenant.
She tells us the tenant's lease should specify how to properly submit maintenance requests, and certain repairs may take longer than 7 days if parts need to be ordered. But once that window is passed,
at that point, the tenant should reach out to their city code compliance department to report that issue.
Tuesday night's presentation also explained what tenants can do if they have a notice to vacate or eviction, as well as reoccurring maintenance issues where a repair is made, but the problem keeps coming back.
There are avenues to get out of the lease when health and safety issues are not being addressed. There is a provision in the Texas Property Code.
The Fair Housing Council has resources for complaint investigation, advocacy, and education. You can find those tools on KSAT.com. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
I know it's a lot to take in. If you'd like to attend a renters' rights meeting in person, on your screen, a list of times, dates, and locations for meetings that are coming up. The next one is July 15th at Mission Library. I also want to mention we have even more resources for you. KSAT explains renters' rights, a look at the options that renters have who are struggling to get their landlords to fix issues with the property. You can watch it now on KSAT Plus. All right, this afternoon we were watching the radar. It looked like it was heading straight for us, Sarah, and then
split.
It split around San Antonio.
It's the luck of the draw today, Steve. Monday, San Antonio area got a lot of rain today. The Bexar County area kind of missed out completely. Take a look at the picture behind me. This is a look at the rainfall totals. And as you can see, yep, there's that split. A lot of rain to the east of San Antonio, a lot of rain to the west of San Antonio, even a lot of rain to the north of San Antonio. But in San Antonio itself, you can see that it was dry today. But we did have those dark clouds rolling through right around the time of the evening commute. Here's a look at some of the rainfall totals, though. Across parts of Kerr County, 2 inches of rain, an inch of rain near Kerrville. Near Los Maples, nearly an inch of rain, 1.5 inches near Medina, and 1 inch near Bandera. This is on top of the 4 inches of rain that some of these areas saw yesterday. This is all going to factor into our new drought monitor when it comes out on Thursday, and that's going to be something I'm going to be looking at because as you can see, this area, Kerrville, Medina, Bandera, Bernie, all under extreme drought at the moment. So this is going to help out that drought situation combined with yesterday's rainfall as well. And And then as we look to the east, this is where also a lot of the rain fell, about 3/4 of an inch from New Braunfels down to Seguin, 2 inches in southern Gonzales County, 2 inches near Cuero, and even out to the west, there was some good rainfall. Just outside of the city of Del Rio to the east, about 1/2 inch, and then an inch near Eagle Pass area, about 1/2 inch near Hondo as well. So yeah, there were several folks that missed out on the rain. That's the nature of our weather pattern. And guess what? Tomorrow, it's going to be very similar in nature. There will be the haves and the have-nots tomorrow. Here's a look at the futurecast. This is early in the morning, close to about the time of the morning commute. You can see spotty showers and storms out there, about a 30% chance in the morning. And then again, in the late afternoon, after the atmosphere recharges in the later afternoon hours, we could see a few more storms before we see our rain chances really come to an end by tomorrow late at night. So looking at your KSAT 12-hour forecast for the day tomorrow in the morning, a 30% chance for storms. Otherwise, if you don't see any rain, you'll wake up, it'll be 75 degrees outside. Should be pretty nice in the morning hours. Then by noon, fairly quiet and 88. And then in the afternoon, after 3-4 o'clock, that's when we have our next opportunity for rain, about 30% chance then as well. A lot like this afternoon. Just keep in mind there will be those who get rain and those that miss out. 94 though for the high, so it's not going to be too hot outside tomorrow. And even in the hill country, some areas struggling to get out of the 80s. That's nice. 87 in Kerrville and 89 in Rock Springs, but it will be 100 in Del Rio. Del Rio, you're used to those triple digits this time of year, and 101 in Laredo. So our rain chances all because of this upper level low that's currently working its way through North Texas, but it's going to be exiting our region, and in its wake, we've got that heat high. That heat dome, it keeps the air from rising, sinks the air and compresses it, makes it hot. And that's going to settle right over Texas Thursday into the weekend. So as you're planning your Father's Day weekend, know that it is going to get pretty hot. Again, temperatures will be climbing to 99 on Saturday, 100 on Father's Day itself. Good weekend for Dad to sit out by the pool, or an excuse for Dad not to do the yard work in the afternoon at 100 degrees. And then as we head into the following week, at least we're not going to stay at 100 for too long. There are some hints that we could have some rain chances next week, and that's what I'm hoping for as well. Let's take a look at live cam. It is a nice night out there at 78 because we got, even though we didn't get rain, we got some cooler air from the rain all around us. So looking good outside.
I appreciate you giving me some outs on the yard work.
I got you,
Sarah.
Steve.
Yeah, thank you. All right, a change in UIL playoffs that Mary's going to explain to us now.
Yes, it's significant. We will see, twice the amount of state champions this upcoming season. It all begins August 1st. Split divisions in the playoffs, much like 6A football. Could the Celtics be without Kristaps Porzingis Game 3? We'll tell you the latest on his injury, that and more right after the break.
For us at home, protecting home court, but the cliche is role players play better at home, so we'll see.
Jason Kidd can only hope as his team is at risk of going down 0-3 in the NBA Finals in big board sports. Major changes are coming to the UIL playoff structure this fall. We are going to see twice the amount of state champions across Texas. Similar to the playoff structure of 6A football, other sports will be adopting split divisions. The top 4 teams in each district will advance to the playoffs. The 2 schools with the largest enrollment will compete in the Division I bracket. The other 2 schools will go to the Division II bracket. With that, there will be one less round to get to the state semifinals. This impacts volleyball, basketball, soccer, softball, and baseball, and is expected to take effect August 1st of this year. Later this month, the San Antonio Spurs will have 2 top 10 picks in the NBA draft at 4 and 8. What the Spurs plan to do with those picks is mostly speculation at this phase. According to reports, Zachary Risacher worked out for the Spurs. Risacher is projected to be a top 3 pick in the draft, but that's not stopping the Spurs from getting a closer look at the 6'9" wing. In the case they want Risa Shea, the Spurs would need to draft up. At this point in time, 15 prospects are known to have worked out or are scheduled to work out with the Spurs. Dallas's Luka Doncic is often talking about how physical Boston plays to reporters, but could the Celtics' latest injury report change that? Boston's star center Kristaps Porzingis is questionable for tomorrow's Game 3 with a torn tendon in his left leg near his ankle, which he suffered in the third quarter of Game 2. It'll be up to the medical staff to determine if Porzingis will play. If he does, it'll be the first time he plays in Dallas since being traded by the Mavs in February of 2022.
See how I am tomorrow, and obviously I'm going to do everything I can to be out there tomorrow, and we'll see.
Are you optimistic?
I am, of course. I have to be. I'm optimistic. As I said, I will do everything I can to be out there tomorrow.
Well, Doncic has also been a mainstay on the injury report, dealing with a right knee sprain, left ankle contusion, and now a chest bruise, which a league source said he received a pain-killing injection for before Game 2. But the injuries haven't held Doncic back at all. He's averaging 31 points this series. If the Mavs want to avoid an 0-3 hole, Luka needs help.
Just trying to keep getting open looks. I think our defense has not been bad, but just we can't really score. That's our main problem right now. But I think we're getting some great looks. And like I said, we have confidence that everybody can make a shot that's shooting the ball in our team. So we just got to keep believing it.
Tip-off is at 7:30 tomorrow in Dallas. You can watch it right here on KSAT 12. Some late MLB games tonight. The Astros dropped Game 1 in San Francisco last night, 3-4 in extras. Right now, the Astros are up on the Giants 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Also in California, the Rangers opened their series against the Dodgers, and the Dodgers lead the Rangers 6-1 in the top of the 5th. All right, after the break, we're talking high school football. Kimmy Lewis, who is responsible for bringing the first district championship to Memorial High School back in 2017, is now taking over the reins at Brandeis. Lewis most recently was the defensive coordinator at Harlan, and now he's excited to build more success.
The first day was, again, it's a surreal feeling to be a part of, a prestigious program, the premier program in San Antonio, if you will. Again, I'm excited to be named the guy to help lead this, and I can tell you I'm going to give you my very best, and I'm excited to be here.
Over at Roosevelt High School, Darnell Barnes is loyal to the Rough Riders. He is a 2004 Roosevelt graduate and now fulfills a dream to take over the football program. Looks like we don't have the sound from him. He had a great line about just how important being a part of the Roosevelt football program is to him, and how his kids, his family, all go through the same school. It's really special.
I'm amazed that guy was out there in a sweatshirt tonight.
I don't know how.
Did you see? I mean, that's a tough coach.
Football players, athletes, I don't know how they do that.
That's a tough coach. We'll be right back.